Hey guys, wait, I'm gonna sit down so it's gonna creak a bit. But it's Yui from the Strictly Broken YouTube channel. Here doing another Weiss Schwarz deck profile, as you guys can deduce from the title. It's an Alicization profile, Sword Art. It's a Japanese one, but it's a pretty good time to do a profile for this, I felt like. Because not only is this set coming out in English in a couple months, set 2 anniversary, not set 2, but it's 10th anniversary set's coming out, and it has some pretty insane support for Flufflight. It's really neat. I really like it. So I thought it was just a perfect time to do a profile because this is pre-10th anniversary. So then people who want the list for English can get it, and then I can show you guys like a post-transformation after 10th anniversary in comparison to this list. So that's pretty awesome. So a little bit of backstory on this deck. I didn't post the profile of it earlier when it came out because I really thought that I was going to play this if I were to go to Japanese Nats. I ended up going and playing a different Sal variant that I ended up deciding was better. But I really thought this deck was pretty good, like pretty awesome. Finisher was really good. Utility cards were really good. It has unique ways to attack the meta. But ultimately I decided to go with a different build. But this was the build that I would have taken to that tournament. So I think it's pretty solid for English. English is a little more like bubble in the sense there's less sets, so I think it attacks the meta decks pretty well right now. But I'll explain more of it when I get into the profile. So yeah, let's just get straight into it. Starting off, 4 of your mill runner. It's the same effect as the Kirito in the generic Sword Art deck. So it's like instead of pumping a Sinon 1k, it pumps a Kirito 1k, which is kind of flavorful. The mill runners, like generically, plussing zeros are always good. I feel like at this point it's just without saying you gotta play some amount of them. But mill runners are particularly good because you'll get into like situations where you play climax, do your attack phase, 1 card left in the deck. Mill runner can mill that last card out if it's clean, and that's just awesome in itself. Makes it so that you're always refreshing good. You don't have any lingering damage there, so if you just like poke mash this in the back, you can get that extra mill off, which is really nice. And then next card, this card is really sick. So Steinzia has a similar one. This one's on death. Look it up to the top 3 cards of your deck, put 1 into damage, and then salvage any Flufflight character from drop. I really like this a lot because this is actually an experience-based deck. There's an experience condition for some of your cards, and this just helps you hit experience more consistently while also being a Ricky effect. So that's just like it just does a lot of things in one card. It's also voiced. It's also Alice, and it's a pretty neat looking card. The art's nice, but as for like functionality, yeah, it fits the deck and the deck's role. Like the deck kind of needs this card right now because getting experience can sometimes be hard, and this lets you peel 2 more cards for the experience cards in your condition. So yeah, it's pretty solid. Next up, this is like a combo. Got 3 of this card and 3 of this card. I think this combo is actually insane. So this card, what it does is it checks top 2 and you can rearrange it. On opponent's turn, if they play climax, you can go to stock. This card pumps 15 on play, and you can put the top card of your deck on top or bottom. So these 2 cards together makes it so that you're always triggering really well in the mid game. Because like if you see 2 cards and they're both clean, you just start attacking. And if you see 2 cards, you see a climax, you can move it to the top and then use this card to move it to the bottom. So oftentimes in the mid game, if you're like brainstorming and hitting them, you're usually just searching these cards so that you always have 1 of each in the hand. Because having these cards really gets you through the mid game. So like I cannot stress this enough. Like being able to trigger 2 clean and knowing that, or seeing a climax with this and being able to put it at the bottom for cancels later is like so good in Weiss Schwarz. Like it's actually insane. Sunshine does something similar. I think a huge selling point of like Sunshine, English Sunshine, and when it has the back row card that lets you scry 3 times by overplaying it, it does something very similar where it can kind of guarantee its cancels. And this little 2-card combo does the same thing. This also has like that additional effect of like, let's say you open slot attack this on opponent's turn when they want to push damage, it just runs to stock. If they don't want to give you the stock, you're taking less damage too. So it's just the fact that this card has that extra text on it, and this card pumps 15 so that you can scale over opponent's characters with like maybe this card or one of your reverse combos. It just works really well together. Definitely like a highlight, and like why I thought this deck was so strong was this 2-card combo. Yeah, like I think this 2-card combo is just really good. Absolutely insane. Next up, kind of similar to this card. So on play, it tops check, check top, add a Flucklight, dish a card from hand, so hand fixes. And if you see a climax, you can use this card to bury it to the bottom. So you're either getting a guaranteed hand fix or a move climax to the bottom. When your opponent cancels the damage, this card goes to stock. So what's nice is this, like, a lot of Japanese decks, and right now I think a lot of English decks, you're kind of like sandbagging a lot in the mid game because everything is so like mid game power level, winning field so strong, and this deck is not that great at winning field early. So if you need to like crash a whole board, you might as well get like extra value out of it. If you know what I mean. Like this card, if they do cancel, it goes to stock. So your crash nets you additional value in terms of stock. It's a better attack than just using some random card to attack into a wall. So that's pretty good in itself. Also, you know, filtering cards for brainstorms, hitting more brainstorms mid game, getting more pluses. If you're losing field, you need those pluses. So both effects of the card are pretty useful. Two of, because I think drawing multiples of this card is weak early game, because when you draw zeros, you want to draw zeros that can kill opponent zeros. This one, like, if you're attacking into a 1k character with this, but then they cancel, their character lives, but you get the stock. But I'd rather kill their character most of the time. So in the early game, you don't really want to draw too many of them, so I keep it at 2. And next, oh my god, this brainstorm is so good. So just tap self search brainstorm. First time Sal got one, but this is only for Flucklight trait. It only searches Flucklight trait. So, you know, funny that Sal finally gets a good tap self search brainstorm, and it's Flucklight trait. The new 10th Annie gives a good generic salvage brainstorm, but this one only Flucklight. When you have experience 5, is it 4 or 5? Just double check. Yeah, it's experience 5. It becomes a 500 assist as well. So a brainstorm that's tap self search and being a 500 assist in the at level 2 onwards is actually just really nice. The 500 doesn't come up as much, like, because by level 2 game a lot of things are early play based, but it's still like the fact that there's that additional text. I just think that's like so cool that this is a assist and a brainstorm. Like, that's awesome. A really cool card. But yeah, being tap self is just in itself is just really good. It's like just you usually have just 2 of those in the back row, or like 1 of those in a runner. Yeah, it's level 0s. Going into level 1s, I play 4 of this Alice. So it's like an Astolfo clone from Apocrypha. On reverse, this card, you can choose to add the card. You can look at it and choose to add it or not, which is something neat in itself. But you will rarely, like, if you don't add the card on the last battle, your opponent already knows it's a climax. So, like, the effect itself doesn't do that much, like the additional text on it, but it does combo with a wind. And wind, I think, is a better climax than book, because wind is just so useful right now in the Japanese metagame, English metagame as well. Wind just being a really top tier climax. So the fact that it combos with the wind is really nice. This kind of works well with the finisher too, because it has the Astolfo effect, so it does the Aaron thing where it bounces when opponent frontal attacks. So you can set up, your finisher is on reverse, so this card helps you, you know, transition smoothly into your end game, which is an on reverse end game. And this card being, the fact that it just pluses 2, you know, I always say +2 combos that are costless and everything are just absolutely insane. Now, this card is only 6k, you get some types of power pumps to make it 7.5. It's not the biggest, but getting even just 1 reverse is like enough to carry you through the early game and get you like strong enough into the mid game where you have enough resources to do everything you want to do. So this combo is more than suitable. In English, the TD combo might be better. The TD combo is just Amelia, and it comes with book. But I do really value the wind really highly, so I'm not sure he would actually transition to playing just on attack pluses, because AOT is like not played that much. So your on reverse will usually go off when you transition into 1 first and get to on reverse like a couple weenies on your opponent's level 0 board. Next, another clone from Basic Sal is this is another clone of Kirito. It seems flavorful that all the Yu-Gi-Ohs are Kirito card clones, because yeah, flavor. So it's the Kirito Rize, same exact effect, but for Flucklight. And I think this card is pretty decent. I know a lot of people cut it in Sal already, but Sal already has like Amagi, blah blah blah, a lot of mill already. The fact that Alice is a +2 and can contribute to overhand size situations makes this card better than Yuki, because Yuki doesn't +2, nothing in regular Sal +2. So the fact that this can +2 makes you being able to main phase, make overplay plays to get main phase mills more practical because you're not like negging as hard, especially if you go like end turn with Alice 7-card hand. So then you get like a double bounce. So you did double Alice combo. So you start next turn with 10 cards in hand. 10 cards in hand, so then you can afford to, if you had clock that turn, you can make an overplay and still stay at 7 cards. So I think this card's a little bit better in Alicization, like this deck. But yeah, overall, this card's, I like it at 4. Being a 6/5 attacker a lot of the times, and then 1500 pump climax, that's 9k. It can challenge some things, and if they counter, you get the end phase mill. So like this card being able to challenge or getting end phase mill if they counter is like pretty good overall. So that's just 8 level 1s. A lot of mid game is, you don't need to play too many things like level 1 stuff, because a lot of your mid game is involving these 2 cards. You actually kind of really want to field them, so you don't have to play like too crazy powerful. You just got to play like a really good plussing combo in Alice, and then a utility mill card, and then you can. This is just mostly your early game. Getting on to, okay, so level 2, I got 1 anti-change counter, dish 2 anti-change, pretty solid. Just being the only counter in the deck. And being an anti-change counter is pretty good. You want like a 1 counter because you do play early plays. You do have like a level 3 that has some amount of power, so protecting them, keeping them alive is pretty good. Pay 1, anti-change. Like having that additional plus with Alice and having a dish 2 anti-change works really nicely together, because then the anti-change cost becomes free-ish because of that additional plus. So this anti-change counter is pretty good. And then 3 anti-change bombs. This one is a memory kick anti-change bomb, so that is new. That is awesome. It's also a yellow level 2, so it's really good for the experience in this deck, which is why I play 3 of this. Like if I didn't need it for like an experience condition, I'd probably play 2. But it's nice to have 3 because it's a really good card and an experience condition. So it's like, you always want good excuses to play really good cards like these, but they're not good enough to play too many. But if you have a good excuse to play more, it's pretty awesome. It's similar to how Bang Dream with the Clock Suicide at level 2. It's like they can afford to play 4 of that card because it has an alarm ability. But like if it didn't have that alarm ability, you can only justify playing 1 or 2. But you would like playing 4 of that card really makes Bang Dream attack like early plays really well. So it's similar in this case. Just having access to a card that I can play more of, that's really good. But like but I can justify playing more copies of it because of other reasons. Memory kick. Speaking of the memory kick part of the anti-change suicide, that's absolutely amazing. Like Goblin Slayer is it can like memory kick Priestess. It can just get rid of early plays that opponents can like spam over again, like Yo's even in English. Just being able to like memory kick them really denies your opponent a lot of like potential plays. Say they're like they call out a Yo, attack 3 times, but now they only have 1 in deck. If you memory kick that Yo, they might not be able to spawn another Yo next turn because they're in a new deck now. And if they didn't set up with like a Stalk Soul to call out another Yo, you can basically just stunt the Sunshine player's game plan. So the memory kick part of this card is awesome. I love it. It's absolutely insane. The other, I'm just gonna put it together. The other experience card that I can put in level is the 3/2 Alice. So it's a 2k support, on play, bounce something on your opponent's field, and during the battle that it's in the back of, your opponent can't cast events. So on play bounce, that's awesome, absolutely awesome. Some big name decks in the game have some cards that they really would like to keep on the field. I speak of Fate, I speak of Bunny Girl, I speak of just any like early play, like Goblin Slayer early play and stuff. Any like big wall cards, the Garasau list I showed has the back row Asuna. This just spot removes all the best cards right now. So this card's really awesome, and I can justify playing 2 because of experience. It's awesome. This card's absolutely amazing. Plus, anti-event is just sick. AOT can't gear. So the one deck that tries to always deny your reverse, they can't do it. They can't gear you, so you always get your reverse off, and they lose their Mikasa, so they can't do 2-turn tempo Mikasa finisher plays. You'll just always be able to do your reverse. So I think this deck really does attack English in a unique way, and being a 2k support as well with your Kirito makes a pretty strong powered finisher, like high power, so it'll just reverse all the big stuff. These are your 5 yellow cards that you want in experience, because you want a yellow card at some point in your level, and it's good to just have it for be a valid experience target. Like you could technically put level 1 Alice in, or just any level 0, but being able to put a yellow card in that's high level, like 2 or 3 early, just like really solidifies your experience game plan for level 2 and onwards. So you don't have to feel like you're pressed to put something else in experience at level 2, which is like a harder time to get like specific experience conditions because you don't really want to clock at level 2. So yeah, these are like the 5 cards that I think are really good that justify I can play more of because of yellow experience condition. Yeah, this card's just absolutely really cool. And then this package, this is 4 Yu-Gi-Oh, 4 Kirito. So I'll talk about Yu-Gi-Oh first actually. So Yu-Gi-Oh is an early play 2 or less condition healer. If you have on your turn against 500 for every other fluck on your field, if you have this Kirito in a level, it gains the additional ability of you can sack it to get the pants that combos with the Kirito finisher to your hand. That effect, when I saw that spoiled, I was amazed. I was actually just completely amazed that exists. That is so ridiculously good. A card that fetches a climax tends to have really high conditions attached to them. But this card, because it gets you a heal is generally worth pay 2 anyways. And then you can just get the climax for no additional cost because you can sack it off, so you just go even to get the climax. You get the heal. That's just so insane to me. Like, I just cannot put into words how much better it is than like all the other climax fetchers, like pay 1, swap a climax fetch, even not Takitsu, but what's it called? Jinsu climax fetches, or just pay 2 search a climax cards. This card is just the best card that fetches its endgame finisher, climax. And it's also just a big attacker. Like as an early play, 11k attacker on defense is 9k. That's not really a big deal. Sometimes I'll like play it down at level 2 heal, put it in the back row, and at level 3 I can bond it off for the climax. And then now that this is in drop, I can marker it for the Kirito. The Kirito does have a Yu-Gi-Oh! It has to put the Yu-Gi-Oh! Underneath its marker to do the full extent of its finisher combo. So, like, this card, so good. Here's where I talk about 10th anniversary a little bit. It gets even better. So 10th anniversary has another early play. It's a 4 or more Fluff-like early play. Ditch 1, heal to stock. So 1 cost, ditch early play, heal to stock. And in tandem with this card, what you can do is play a random character. Play this card down early play, heal 1. Play that healer, heal 1. Then you can sack this card off to grab the climax. And then, because you sack this off to get something, you now have another open space, and you can play another 4 or more, cost 1 healer in that position. So, effectively, you only needed to lose 2 cards to heal 3 times, pay 4 stock. That's awesome. That's, like, 2 additional cards is what I mean. Like, heal to stock usually costs, like, hand, but because this card can bond, it can sack itself off to gain another card back from your hand. Playing another heal to stock down doesn't lose you like more cards. So in synergy with that card, it's awesome. You get so many heals in the mid game for like not that much stock. It's so good. This card is just absolutely insane. I think one of the best cards in Alicization. 100%. So broken. Like so broken. I can't wait for that new early play healer. That's really insane. And then like the Kirito. So with Alice, like I said, it's an on-reverse finisher, but with Alice, you're gonna get the reverse almost always. And this card is not outed by like money counter and stuff because, you know, anti-event. So pretty good. On reverse, burn 1. And then optional is to pay 2, ditch 2 to burn 3. It has a draw 2, ditch 1 attached to it. I think it's experience 6, gain 15. Yeah, experience 6, gain 15. So 11k with the Alice assist, with the 1k climax, that's 14k. Any other buff, it can be 15.5. If it's in the middle with the Kirito brainstorm, it will be what? It will be 14k, 14.5. And then the finisher part of it is really neat. So it's burn 1, burn 3. That's Yukina threshold. That's Yukina damage threshold, just divided a bit differently. But for pay 2, ditch 2, plus it's optional. That's awesome. That's actually like awesome. Like it's so good. Because you can just do the burn 1, and depending on how you feel, how the turn went, how much damage it took off your first attack, you can optionally choose to maybe grind another turn out. Because you just feel like you couldn't kill them. So you don't have to pay 2 and ditch 2. It basically lets you be very conservative. But you also have the potential for like enormous reach. Doing double of this gets you what? It gets you 2 additional ping 1s and 5 attacks for 3 typically, because you have 3, 3, burn 3, burn 3, and then the other column 3. You do triple of these, I think they're dying from 3-0 usually. Card is really good. Really, really good. And then like, okay, some thresholds. Like 5 stock can do double. That's like another important point to note. Like 5 stock can give you double combo. Really, really good. Yukina with 5 stock. What can you do? You can't do double combo. That's for sure. Card's really good in English, and especially with the back row. I think you're gonna get like your reverse off all the time. So a lot stronger in English than I think it was in Japanese. And then for climaxes, you have your Alice combo, and then you have your pants that the Yu-Gi-Oh can bond for, that the Kirito combos with. Yeah, just pants and wind. Pants and wind is very interesting because there's no gate, there's no standby, which are some of the power climaxes of 2019. But this has a lot of utility, and I don't really care about what trigger this is when the support for this climax is just so insane. Yeah, this deck is. I really think this deck's gonna be good in English. I say that a lot about a lot of different sets, but I actually played this deck a lot because I'm like kind of like a Sao fanatic. So I kind of am very informed. I think this deck will perform a lot better than people think it currently will in English. And I'm really excited for the 10th anniversary stuff. The specific early play healer that I was talking about, and with synergy with this card, is that's just bonkers. I think that's actually just bonkers. It's so good. But yeah, that is it for the deck profile. If you have any questions about the build, any questions about 10th anniversary stuff, stay tuned for the video when that set releases. I'll try to get like a deck profile up as soon as I do some testing, as soon as I can. But if you do have any questions about this deck in the English format, definitely you can leave a comment, ask me anything, and make sure you can definitely also pre-order the cards on strictlybrokenTCG.com.ca or sbtcg.ca. We have the whole Alicization set up for pre-order, so if you want to get your hands on the cards while they're cheap and during pre-order season, yeah, definitely go to that website. Yeah, this is Yui from the Strictly Broken YouTube channel, signing off. Peace!